The first time I realized what it meant to be Black, I think I just always knew. There isn't a defining, moment I can think of where it's like, aha, that's when I knew I was Black. I always knew I was Black. My mom said that my sister and I used to call, people instead of Black, like brown. Like there was this lady who would, pick up their kids from our elementary school. We would see her all the time. And we would say, hey, there's that brown lady. So that's probably when my mom really explained, like, we as a people are called Black people. But other than that, like I always knew that we were brown, we look different than other people. And that's okay. I think as far as racism goes, I think the first time I came to terms with my Blackness even then I don't really have a defining moment about that. I think it was really driven home to me in 2008 with the campaigning and election of President Obama. I think that's when I really started to see, a lot more of just kind of like that hateful rhetoric and just racism. And then this past summer, with the resurgence and amplification of the Black Lives Matter movement, I think I just felt like a second wave of realization in the world as an adult, and what that means for me as a Black woman, living in the South, honestly, and just living in the world, and all the different aspects of myself and intersectionalities, just kind of what that meant when other people look at me. And I think with all the protests going on this summer, a lot of the people, we were out there protesting for were my age, or a little bit younger, or a little bit older. So I think that really hit home even deeper for me as well. Breonna Taylor and I, we're not that far apart in age. So that really hit deeply. But as far as when did I realize that, I would say probably 2008 with the election of President Obama. But I've always known that I was Black. That's always been a fact.
I realized what it meant to be Black a long time ago when I was young. Just growing up in an environment that was predominantly white, experienced a lot of just different, just racist viewpoints, people like questioning just my identity and who I was as an individual, which essentially allowed me to understand what it truly meant to be Black.
I think I realized what it meant to be Black when I was a little bit younger. When I was a kid, being able to have certain conversations with my Black friends that I couldn't have with my white friends, or coming into the middle of conversations that some of my Black friends were having that my white friends weren't having because of obvious reasons. I think I realized it at that point in life. I realized, okay, we're a little bit different than our counterparts. But when I realized what it meant to be Black, I think that was more of a negative situation where I think that was the first time I was ever called the N-word because of the fact that I won a spelling bee in 6th grade. And just kind of that feeling of inferiority simply because of the fact that I did my best to spell words correctly. And I just, that's when I really knew, okay, we're different. And you don't like the fact that we are different, and the fact that we are as intelligent and as intelligent as we are. I think that's when I realized that, okay, this black thing is more than just skin color. It's more than just, being named a certain way. It's more than just living in a certain neighborhood. This is potentially what some people would call a threat. This is just being different, I think from that point on, I kind of took it as, initially I took it as an offense. I took it as, you don't like me because I'm probably better than you. I took it as, I took it that way for a good portion of my life after sixth grade. So this kind of led up to maybe high school, college age. That's when I kind of toned down and I realized, you know what, it's not because of that. It's just because of the fact that you are afraid of what's different. And that fear kind of lashes out in anger instead of trying to understand those, instead of trying to understand those differences. So I kind of toned down my radical attitude at that point to where, I just felt like it was a little bit better to be more understanding of the fact that, to be more understanding of their lack of understanding when it came to me as a human being.
I realized what it meant to be Black, or I started to come into that realization of what it meant to be Black. I can consciously remember this in between my 6th and 7th grade year. The way that we grew up in a predominantly Black area, went to predominantly Black school, predominantly Black church. A lot of our life was surrounded by predominantly Black people. And I remember my father sitting me and my brother down and telling us that, essentially the world wasn't just Black. Actually, the world wasn't just Black and white either. And as we were going to grow up, we were going to have to be exposed to different cultures, to different things. And it was just going to be part of life, part of getting to know people. And I remember my dad making a conscious decision to pull us out of the school that we were in and take us to a more, diverse school. And that was my first experience with a significant amount of different types of people and languages and things like that. And I also remember my first conscious time where a white person called me the N-word, and it caused a stir in the school. I called my parents and called my dad. I didn't really know what to do. Obviously, my first reaction was anger and, kind of violence and some of those types of things. And I tried to do the right thing and take it to the office. So I called my parents. I remember they told me to take it to the principal and some things like that. And then I remember having a conversation with the principal and with everyone in the staff, and the staff basically telling me that it was my fault and somehow I had to do, or I caused this gentleman to kind of use that language towards me, and that they weren't going to punish him. And I remember having to have that conversation with my parents about this potentially being something that we would have to deal with and in life. And at that point, I do remember consciously starting to truly understand what it meant to be Black. It was a very interesting type of experience that really shaped a lot of my thought process as I started to grow up.